July 31st, we had our meeting with FDA. We've reached agreement on our regulatory pathway. We are ready to go. Question here for everybody. Are you afraid to go to the hospital? You should be. Hospital-acquired infections are a huge international problem. In the US alone, that's $50 billion and 100,000 deaths. Most of these events are never events. They should never happen, and therefore you're never going to be reimbursed. On top of the lack of reimbursement, however, are staggering Medicare penalties in the hundreds of millions of dollars and more. More than 40% of these infections are catheter-related. Do we care? Are catheters really that big a deal? The answer is yes. They're one of the best medical miracles of the century, but infections limit their use, limiting care. Why? Why can't the whole world fix this problem? It's because so many of the drugs used to treat these infections are antibiotic resistant. Fact. Antibiotic resistance is now the third leading cause of death worldwide. We have the solution. It's called the Lightline Photodisinfectant System. We're using visible light that the human eye can see, to disinfect catheters, thereby preventing infection. Our technology consists of two components: a reusable light engine attached to an off-the-shelf catheter. Inside that off-the-shelf catheter is a fiber optic that emits light inside and outside, disinfecting it and thereby preventing infection. This is a platform technology for all types of catheters. There is no antibiotic-resistant issue. Said another way, bacteria simply cannot resist our light. The device works. We have successfully killed the microorganisms that cause these infections and exceeded FDA's 99.99% kill rate required for an antimicrobial claim. First, we're putting the technology in a peritoneal dialysis catheter for several reasons. It's generally understood that peritoneal dialysis done in a home is better for the patient clinically and the quality of life than hemodialysis done in a clinic several hours at a time, several days a week. Then how come in the United States 89% of the population is on hemodialysis? It's because they're scared to death of getting an infection, and we can fix that. But the second reason this is our first product is that we're putting the fiber optic in a portion of the catheter where more than 90% of the infections arise. It's called the extension set, and it's outside the body. You can see it in front of the mannequin there, and you can see it on our booth 14. As a result of it being outside the body and not touching human tissue, we don't need animal or clinical trials, so we have a straightforward 510(k) pathway. The device works seamlessly within the peritoneal dialysis patient's workflow. They do what they would ordinarily do to set up for their peritoneal dialysis, and then they have to do 4 things that take seconds each. You go to the back of the light engine that delivers the light, you turn a switch on, you then test this transfer cable. When it turns green, you know you're good to go. You attach it to that extension set, which was in the last slide. You push a start treatment button, and you do that while you're doing your drain, which is something you would ordinarily do for peritoneal dialysis. So we're not taking a second more of the time, and then they complete their treatment. It's a huge market. Total addressable market is close to $10 billion. We estimate that by 2033, revenues will exceed $500 million and will have approximately 17% of the worldwide population. But next is the Holy Grail. We put the technology in a Foley or urinary catheter to prevent catheter-associated urinary tract infections. These are the most common infections in the whole world, not just the United States. This too is a 510(k), but it's a de novo 510(k). We need animal and clinical trials, and that's why it's product number 2. This is a huge market. There are over 100 million Foley catheters sold worldwide. We have a partnership distribution strategy where we rely on a partner's existing market penetration to sell. Here we have that partnership with Medline Industries, the largest private distributor in North America, with 50 infectious disease sales reps. We estimate by 2033, revenues will exceed $400 million and will have penetrated 6% of the worldwide population. We estimate 10 years post-launch, revenues exceeding $1.7 billion. How do we make money? Here's how. For peritoneal dialysis, we have a razor blade model. We give away the light engine for free or charge a nominal amount, and we charge $70 a week for the disposable fiber optic that is replaced once a week. That's an 80% gross profit margin. For all other indications, we charge for both the capital equipment and the fiber optic, but for the others, you only need one fiber optic for the length of time the patient is in the hospital. But why? Why would anybody buy our products? It's because we have a strong value proposition for everyone. Patient doesn't get an infection, caregiver isn't treating the infection, hospital isn't penalized for it, and insurance companies aren't paying for it. Competition. The standard of care is sterile technique, things like alcohol swab and gloves. There's also antimicrobial catheters like Bard's silver-coated Foley catheter, but silver degrades over time. And those disinfectants, the technique is disinfecting the exterior of the catheter. That's not what we're doing. We're disinfecting the interior and the exterior. There are two companies with disinfectant medical devices in development. One is Relavo using bleach, and there's HAI Solutions using UVC. Bleach and UVC degrade catheter materials, and they're toxic to human tissue, so they cannot be put inside a catheter, inside a body cavity, the way Lightline's visible light can. How do we know we can get the products on the market? We've all done it before. I have deep intellectual property experience, and so my last infection control company, Catheter Connections, to Merit Medical. Merit put $1 million in Lightline. My chief technology officer is my former co-founder at Catheter Connections. He's been putting products on the market for decades. Our CFO has 30 plus years of experience. And Kelly Powers, recently retired from CR Bard and Bard Access. He's put over 100 products on the market with revenues exceeding $15 billion. We're here raising a Series A at an $18 million pre-money valuation, $1.25 million is left, and warrant coverage 8%. We will use all of those funds to file the 510K and obtain clearance. Traction. As I mentioned at the beginning, we now have agreement with FDA on our regulatory pathway. That was a huge milestone for us, July 31st. Here's our traction. The technology works. We've killed the microorganisms that cause these infections. We've done over 50 in vitro tests. We've done lots of in vivo studies as well, and we've had our testing confirmed by a GLP lab. But what does that mean? It means that we figured out how to deliver the light at the right intensity and duration to kill these microorganisms. IP is our secret sauce. Now, you can't patent visible light. It's a natural phenomena. That's not what we've patented. We've patented the method of delivery. We have 30 issued patents, 19 pending, and written freedom to operate opinions. Partnerships. I already talked about Medline. We also have a collaboration with Mayo I'll get to in a minute. And it's a very important partnership for us. We've won lots of grants and awards, and we've raised $10 million to date. Our agreement with Mayo, we have licensed their know-how in all 4 fields of use. We meet with a nephrologist once a week to get our product right for Mayo's peritoneal dialysis patients as well as the rest of the world's. We have access to Mayo and its facilities. We secured funding from them, and they negotiated best price. So what does that mean? It means that they will be an early adopter and a catalyst for others to adopt our products. Timeline. Using all of our funds to file the 510K and seek FDA clearance, there will then be an increase in valuation. We raise a Series B. We launch the peritoneal dialysis product, followed by Foley and endotracheal. Now, you don't see vascular on here. That's because we're convinced we're going to be sold by the time we get to vascular. But that being said, we have confidentiality agreements right now with 2 public companies for our vascular technology. Exit. We have 4 fields of use. We could do in a deal internationally or domestically with each. So, example, Fresenius is a dialysis company. Fresenius would only want dialysis, but Medline and Teleflex might want everything, and Bard and Merit might want selected indications in selected geographic areas. These are our potential acquirers, or some of them, and in fact, we have relationships with 3 of those on this list right now. While I talked about 8 potential exits, we've modeled 1 here. Typically, a medical device company sells for 3 to 5 times revenue. So that would be, we estimate $400 million in revenue 4 to 6 years post-launch. That would be a $1.2 to $2 billion market, a hefty Series A return of 32 to 54 times return. What we really want you to do is join Mayo, Merit, Medline, Kaiser Doctors, Angel MD, and others and visit our data room. Within reach with your investment, we can successfully eliminate antibiotic resistance, save millions of lives, billions of dollars, launch our product timely, and have extraordinary returns and revenues. Thank you.